Not long ago, we talked about how Wall Street's big players are becoming more bullish on crypto than ever, and I think that a lot of the recent events, especially Ripple swell, showed that some of the biggest names in banking have become more optimistic about crypto. I recently read a post by Reese Merrick, who works for Ripple. In it, he talked about how he had a full circle moment at Ripple swell a few weeks ago. When I joined Ripple 7 years ago, I remember talking with people from big banks. Their unease was clear even when they talked about digital assets and blockchain technology. Now, at our annual event, I'm in charge of a panel where three of the world's biggest banks, Fidelity, Franklin Templeton, and Citi, discuss how they are all using blockchain to use their goods. You don't have enough confidence? I think it says a lot that this is from a Ripple employee telling us that we are not optimistic enough, even with the recent drop in the market and all the bad news about crypto over the last few months, because once more, the most recent drop wasn't even the worst of it. According to the charts, we have been going down since July, which is a very long time ago. The latest sale was just one more cut in the thousands we already had. Also, just to remind you, it's very simple to switch to crypto. It's simple to feel angry and down, but we are beginning to see more people adopting this idea. Some of the biggest financial institutions in the world are starting to move more often in this direction. When someone from Ripple tells us what's going on and joins these conversations, they're telling us, hey, you're not bullish enough. He means it. We also got this post from him, which said that the digital future needs unified infrastructure, not lots of separate options. On the XRP ledger, Ripple is building the infrastructure that will let global banking go on chain payments in real time across borders using XRP or USD. Manage secret keys and digital assets with security that meets the standards of a bank. Real-world assets are turned into highly liquid digital tokens on the XRP system through tokenization. Prime brokerage is an institutional tool for clearing, financing, and over-the-counter OTC trades in digital assets. We still need Rail Financial, G Treasury, and Palisade Inc. to join the party for real. And this is a clear sign that Ripple is building the biggest infrastructure for the future of digital money that is fit for use by institutions. Now, I really want to go over a few things in this video because I think a recent post from G Treasury gave us a hint of what's to come. Before I talk about everything else, I just want to quickly let you know that Decent Wallet is having a sale on Black Friday. If you buy two, you can get 40% off. And if you only buy one, you can get 30% off. The deal is only good for a short time. December 3rd is the last day. If you already have a good wallet, you might want to buy someone in your family or circle of friends who works with crypto but doesn't have one yet. Also, having more than one wallet is always a good idea. There is a link in the description below that you can use to make sure you don't miss this great deal if you do want to buy one today for up to 30 to 40% off. Now that we've said that, let's watch the movie again. In other words, G Treasury was bought in October. It was made public on October 16th. It's been a little over a month since we heard this news. First, we were told more about how big G Treasury really was. The multi-trillion-dollar company Treasury market has more than 40 years of experience. I mean, this is a really big name. Okay, we've already talked about it, especially when we think about how big G Treasury is. There are 13,000 banks that are joined, and they handle $12.5 trillion in payments every year. All of these banks' names are linked to this number. You should know that we took down the whole site. So why do I bring it up again? Why do we need to talk about G Treasury again? What's different? Did something, come up? G Treasury put up a movie from the 20th, which is the same day we got this post from Reese Merrick. The development of on-chain, which is being led by Ripple and G Treasury, is well underway, and it comes with different paths that CFOs can take as they start to adopt it. Of course, the most important thing is to always give people choice and the best fit. The best treasury transformations don't make waves. Instead, they give you choices that will make your operations better without adding extra trouble or limits from single and outsourced paths. With more than 50 years of experience between them, Ripple and G Treasury offer flexible digital infrastructure choices to hundreds of institutions around the world. In this post, we have the choice between making waves and building CFO value through digital infrastructure choice. Today's payments world is changing very quickly, and Treasury leaders are constantly hearing claims about systems that don't depend on Rail and promises of flexibility. But if you look more closely, you might wonder, does your Treasury solution provider really give you choices? Or are they quietly pushing you toward their preferred rails and partners? Of course, this is where Ripple and G Treasury come in, what rail agnostic means and why it's important. The best way to explain this is that you could connect to more than one payment method. Just like that, we have that time when Ripple and G Treasury don't lock us in. At this point, they even say that this could let you connect to more than one app. As well as that, you have better connection. The best way to look at this is that it completely breaks down why we should be paying attention to what Ripple was doing with G Treasury and how XRP could be that bridge. We don't have to follow those rules though, down here. Unlike platforms that force customers to use their own payment system or partners, we let you choose between standard wire transfers, SWIFT payments, and instant blockchain-based payments. This is because we want to meet your needs, not our business model. You have full control over when and if to check out new features of digital assets. You can adopt at your own pace. The best thing about this is that we know for sure that in the long run, fast blockchain-based payments will be the best way to go. In this case, the fact that they can choose between bank transfers, SWIFT, and blockchain is definitely a big plus, but we already know what the best way would be to send and receive money, blockchain. Even though it will take some time, I think that, as I said, it will become the best way in the end. But, adoption is still pretty new here. We now know, though, that fast blockchain-based payments are possible because of this. As you can see, we already know where they are, and it's all thanks to XRP. We've talked about this. But that does mean that, with 13,000 banks joined to the Treasury platform, we might soon see more blockchain use through all of those names. It won't happen right away, but we'll get there in the end. In this case, our knowledge helps us. There is no way that hundreds of banks could all be wrong. Expertise is important when judging Treasury partners. Think about the difference. And finally, here is a full explanation of why Ripple, which has a history of over 65 years, is marketing their global financial network and how well it works in the real world with banks and other big players. We now also have the depth of G Treasury. Next, we have real results, not just claims. This is where all the well-known names have given a full explanation of why they use Ripple and how their experience with it has been. We have Trangelo, which is made up of more than 100 banking institutions and partners around the world who work with 5,000 plus payout partners in more than 70 plus countries through Ripple's network. This is where we can see the numbers right now. It's not just SBI, we also have CM Commercial Bank, Money Match, and Trax Bank. When I look at this whole article and think about what's going on with Ripple and what might happen in the future, like tokenization, all I can think about is what Ripple has been telling us, which is that XRP is at the center of everything they're doing.